Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Jesse, Rudo, Megan, AJ, all four of us coming to you live. One of us back from an enjoyable vacation, I imagine.
It was great. It was, I told you guys earlier, it was as close to perfect as we could have asked for. But I'm super happy to be back here with you fine folks. Because I really was. I was going through some hockey withdrawals. I told Megan it was my goal to not watch at all while I was gone. I wanted to be away. I tried a couple of times, and the Avs run NHL Network, so it was hard blacked out everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? This is hockey Jesus saying I'm not allowed to watch. So I didn't. So I was definitely ready to get back and get watching some games.
You heard it here first, Jesse's wife. He wants to be here.
You haven't seen any of them at all?
Oh, I've watched. I watched highlights and shit after. Yeah. But I wanted to I have a moment here. I can sit down and watch this period. Nope, couldn't. But I obviously went back and rewatched the condensed game.
I do those are such great.
Dude,
they really do help
13 minutes, and it's everything that you need.
Yep.
It's nice. Obviously, tonight, the big news, Evan Rodrigues is back in the lineup. Not all that surprising. After Galchenyuk was reassigned the other day, that was kind of the expectation. We'll talk about him in a minute. Currently, though, Dallas did lose yesterday in regulation, so Minnesota is now the number one in the Central at the moment. The Avs, 3 points back of Minnesota with 2 games in hand. At this point in the season, every game's a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But is this a must-have for Colorado?
I said to Megan the other night after the last Arizona game, the four of us have all had this, and I think the Avs have had this attitude too. All right, it's fine, whatever. When you get to the end of the season, doesn't matter. We're officially out of that window where, yes, it all matters now. All of these games remaining, there's the majority of these last 11 are, in my opinion, against teams that you quote-unquote should beat. You have to have all of the should-beat games right now, given how tight the standings are at the top. I think the Avs truly, if you true serum Jared Bednar, he really is just get in and we'll go from there. But I do think the competitive juices are, they want to win the Central. They want home ice. If there's a Game 7, they want it here in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where their focus is right now. So, yeah, any of these teams that you should beat, you have to beat. There's 11 games to go. There's no more messing around.
All right. Fair enough.
That's not to say that if they lose this game, the season's over. But
obviously,
from an important standpoint, you need the points.
It's the insurance because you don't want to leave fate in the hands of other teams losing.
Yes.
And so they can afford to lose it, but it does mean a little bit of it is left out of their hands, and it becomes a lot more difficult for them. So it's just the insurance of why these points tonight or afternoon and tomorrow are so important.
Yeah.
All right. Got to go get it while the getting's good, I suppose. On that front, we talked about it last game. I want to get your 2 opinions on it as well. Makar and Eric Johnson returning. I think we all agree that this hasn't been the best year of Eric Johnson's career or anything, but you saw how important adding that defensive depth was for Colorado against Arizona the other night. Is this the expectation for Colorado's defense going forward? I know Manson isn't back yet, but can they be as good as they were the other night consistently?
So part of the reason why I think, to your point, we all agree that this hasn't been EJ's best year with the injuries. He's a third pairing guy now, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like a lot of other guys in this lineup, they've been asking him to play up, play back on those. I mean, shit, there was a 2-week stretch there where he was back to being a top pairing guy for them. And so I think what you saw the other night, again, with the addition of Josh Manson, with Josh Manson not being there, this is more or less like the same group that they had in the playoffs last year. The Johnson and Johnson third pairing was a Stanley Cup final third pairing. And when he was there the other night, I think he looked fine. I think he looked exactly like what you needed him to do. He did exactly what you needed him to do in that bottom 6. You essentially had, it was Girard in instead of Manson, like what they had last year in the playoffs. You get Manson back, you can have the Johnsons kind of switching off, get a healthy scratch here and there, keep them fresh. I think what we saw the other night, barring health, that should be the expectation.
And Bednar said it as much. He referred to that as the core six, and there's an understanding that core six actually includes Manson and one of the Johnsons is the odd man out in a given situation. But it is barring health. It is because the expectation is, should there be an injury, they have a next man up that is a trusted player there between one of those two Johnsons.
Yeah.
And this is, too, in this last game that we saw, one of the first games in a long while that we saw a player trusted with around 14 plus minutes since a Brad Englund. Wow.
Instead of
Brad Englund. All right.
That's actually
It honestly works. Yeah.
Brad Englund. Small, large combined. But you get the point, right? It's the right reliability, and so he can execute those minutes. It's distributed so much more evenly, and Cale Makar starts to look a little bit more like himself offensively because he's not trying to do everything single-handedly.
And that's burying the lead there, talking about Eric Johnson. First of those two guys coming back, Cale Makar a little bit more important.
Huge.
AJ, we saw Val Nichushkin play very well next to McKinnon yesterday, 2 days ago. Erod
Really
back
does
in the
feel like
lineup.
yesterday.
Every game feels
It's
like
all just a
yesterday,
blur at
man.
this point.
Erod back in the lineup, though. What do you do with him if it's up to you? Are you sticking him back on that top line? Are you putting him on the second line? How's it fit?
Yeah, I'd probably put him next to McKinnon and Rantanen.
Okay.
And then have Nichushkin drop down next to Morgan and Comfer.
Okay, so Erod like on the third line even?
No,
yeah,
Erod on
sorry.
that top line, and then
Dumb.
Newhook goes
Newhook
back
comes-
down
that's- yeah.
to your 4C spot.
Sure. Okay.
That's where I would be right now. Morgan has earned the continued stay up there. Newhook didn't do enough in those couple of games to. I mean, Alex Newhook had 5 scoring chances on his own the other day and 0 shots on goal.
Yeah. Got to hit the net.
He had one from right there in the slot. He missed the net. And I looked at Megan and I said, you have to hit the net.
Yeah.
Yep.
From right there, he has to hit the net.
Yeah, you have to make the goalie make a save
Right.
from that spot.
If Nathan McKinnon misses the net, it's like, you want him to hit the net, but he's done 1,000 other things
Yeah.
in this game. Oh, well.
and
Alex
he'll also
Newhook-
have 7 more shots on goal later at some
Alex
point.
Newhook cannot miss the net
Yeah.
from that
Yeah.
point. From that spot on the ice.
It was a weird thing of like he was consistently dangerous and then he flubbed every single chance that he got. And
Well,
you're just like, come on, man.
I mean, I think there's a world where you could live with that, but the Avs right now just have too many other good options that they need to give opportunities to in that situation.
Yeah, guys have played well.
Yep.
So, with that in mind, I think you just go right back to what has been comfortable and kind of what's worked.
Not going to complain about it. Can Erod get back to where he was? It certainly felt, obviously after the All-Star break, he certainly had a dip. Leading into this injury, it felt like it was starting to come back. The points were starting to show up a little bit for him. Can he jump back in at that level, or are we going to see some de-rust here?
Like with Makar, it wasn't like he's missed so much time that he should have really fallen out of that
not
rhythm
wrong.
so much. So I think my expectation is that he comes in and that he is an impact guy for them.
I feel like there's almost even an argument to be made that, like, Erod needed a few days off. Like, he needed to, and I guess obviously I don't know too much of what happened there when I was gone in terms of his impact and all that stuff.
He was figuring it out.
Right.
It was a mixed bag because like he would have like a really ugly game, and then you were cool with what he was giving you.
Give you a big goal the next. But
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know, like, to me, and again, you never want to be injured and all that stuff, but like, I don't know, a day or two away from the rink, just like, hey, it's coming. You're getting back to it. Take a deep breath. Feel good when you come back. Get your legs back a little. Take a couple days off. Like, could actually even be good for him, to your point, AJ, because he didn't miss that much time. It wasn't enough time to like fall out of anything.
He came back in December, pre-All-Star break. He was one of the only players that was managing to finish at that time. And he had an LBI that he missed just a little bit of time from, and he came back from it looking fine. So I'm not too worried about that for him.
hopefully he can keep that track record going of coming back strong. I'm not going to say the Avs need it against Arizona. I feel like even with this Mullett magic nonsense, this is a game, this is a team they should be capable of beating.
Yeah.
But
They did. Dude, they went away the other day.
Yep.
Like they just is the second straight game against the Avs that they just kind of folded up shop. As the game went on, when what they were trying wasn't working.
It just tilted more and more.
And
Avs
that
favored.
Arizona, like, hey, we're just going to wait till you make a big mistake and then try and score on our one scoring chance. Like,
Yeah.
it just never had, like, they went away the other day. And for a team that's shown so much heart, I thought that was really striking to me that they were like, against these guys, we don't have it.
2 games in a row they've done that. Did you see the quote that Bolding put out from Tourigny?
No.
About, because Nate, the last time they played, not a couple nights ago, but the time before that, Nate was saying, because the Avs went, like 28 minutes without giving up a shot.
Yeah.
And he said all they were doing was dropping back into a 1-4.
Yeah.
And he was nicely and politely being like, what the fuck? Like, play the game.
I wrote about it a lot that night,
And
that they just gave up.
And so Ryan Bolding, or old friend Bolding, asked Arizona head coach Andre Tourigny about, he said, hey, well, Nate said that you guys dropped back into a 1-4. And paraphrasing, go to Ryan Bolding's Twitter if you want to read the full, it's a long quote. But AJ, more or less, he admitted what you just said. Like, we couldn't even get out of our own zone. So we really just said, defend till we get a break. And that is
not
it.
winning hockey.
No. And he made the joke. He goes, so tell Nate, if they don't want us to do that, I don't know, maybe let us get out of our zone every now and then. Like, again, lighthearted.
Yeah.
But AJ, like not being funny, I do think you're right. The Coyotes are like, look, we play hard, but these guys are just better than us.
Yeah.
Like, we can't beat them trying to do what we normally do. Yeah. And this is the time of year, all the, Mullett magic and all these guys play really hard. Like, this is the time of year where real, true playoff teams and contenders, like, that should kind of be out the window in the sense of, like, Arizona plays well at home. The Avs have played there before. There's no more surprises about that environment. The Avs...
They flew in yesterday.
They slept there. They got to get a full night's rest. The Avs shouldn't have any of that weird, quirky stuff that derails them today. Shouldn't.
I mean, look, the Avs have the opportunity to strike while the iron is hot here. Minnesota still playing okay. They're 6-1-3 in their last 10.
They've been great, dude.
Yep.
They just refuse to lose without Kaprizov. It's so annoying.
On the other side, Dallas kind of falling apart a little bit. Just 5-4-1.
Yeah, and if you've watched some of their games, man, scraping by is, even when they're winning games, man, they are scraping by.
It's what every year, AJ, I feel like going back to I found a 2017 BSN credential when we were cleaning this morning. But going back to those days, dude, like, there's just always this team, like Dallas, where it's like, holy shit, they are just living on a prayer every night. And for so much of the year, all of that stuff breaks their way. I mean, that was one thing I saw while I was in Mexico, was they scored with like 2.5 seconds left to send a game to overtime last week. And it's like...
It's 0.7.
Was it point? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It was after Jamie Benn cross-checked a dude in front of the net.
Blatant. That could have been interference or cross-checking.
Yeah.
Puck was nowhere near the dude, and he just
skates into him and cross-checks
him right in the back and then dunks the puck home.
Yeah, and then hits the rebound, and you're like...
It's just like, that has to shift eventually.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you've seen this week, where, like you're saying, AJ, the games they're winning, it's like, I guess.
Right now they're not playing the kind of hockey that scares the other teams.
Right.
Like, Minnesota is playing the kind of hockey without its best player where you're like, oh boy, I don't know that you want to mess with that buzzsaw too much right now.
I don't know. Minnesota just doesn't.
They're not going head-to-head
do it for
tonight.
me.
Tonight it's the Arizona Coyotes. Megan, how does this team avoid the Mullett magic? Is it as simple as your best players have to be your best players?
Well, I think there's plenty of opportunity for depth to step up. It is a little bit more balanced, too, having Erod come back. That means that the third and fourth line, probably stays completely intact. Fourth line, this is no offense to Alex Galchenyuk, but now it is regular full-time NHL players. And they're going to be trusted and utilized a little bit more. That even though Newhook is going to be demoted compared to the last couple of games, there's still opportunity for him to continue creating and finally get a couple shots on net. So I'm looking at everybody to contribute. And I think with respect to a game as soon as tomorrow, they want to come out and have some of their best periods early, so that if they can afford to play a more conservative strategy late in this game, they have fresher legs for tomorrow. And that's something that they could work towards coming out the gate hot in anticipation for tomorrow night's game.
It ties back in perfectly to where we started about Arizona going away. If the Avs get a 3-4 goal lead early, they create an easy one for themselves here.
And I agree with Megan. The depth is where the Avs, especially against teams like this, they really do have the advantage. But apropos of what we were just saying, just have your top players come out. Arizona can't skate with them. Build a 2-3 goal lead early, like Megan was saying, and then just put this shit in cruise control, and that's where let your depth take over and chip in. And then you can coast it. You can coast into this evening, get to Anaheim, and then tomorrow, that's hardly even a back-to-back at that point, if you can get the script to go that way.
2 hours.
Right. I mean, like, you're basically talking about, like, you had a hard practice yesterday. Like, get yourself in that position, have your stars control early, and then to Megan's point, let that depth just carry you the rest of the way. Yeah.
I'm here for it. Whatever you're feeling, you can go over to DraftKings Sportsbooks to put your bets in. The Cale Makar power play point is just free money. I'm just throwing that one out there. Or you can always go with the parlay. It would be nice to see Mikko score 2, get up to 49. Not going to lie. All the stuff we were just talking about lines up with this parlay. Avs score first. Avs win the first by 2 goals. You're feeling pretty good if that happens. So if they can get out there to that lead, you got a pretty good chance at this one. You can hit on that. Of course, you can do a bunch of individual bets at DraftKings. Really, really hard to find good money on individual Avalanche bets right now, though. That's why you got to go with the parlays sometimes. So go check it out. Use DraftKings Sportsbook. I can speak. Download the app today. Use the DNVR code. You must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See the show notes down below for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And it's void in the state of Ohio. I'm going to void Ohio one of these days. Okay. Any final thoughts, any keys any of you guys want to touch on before we wrap up this pregame?
It's not necessarily a final thought, but can you guys believe there's 11 games to go?
It's
many.
So few and so many at the same time. It's both.
I honestly just can't believe that we're here, given how... Like, thinking back to October, it was like, and now here we are, 11 games to go.
That's how I feel about the entire month of March. It feels like March has just been the slowest month ever.
Do you want to know how slow March has been? My vacation felt really long. I was like, wow, we've been out here forever. And vacation usually flies by. March has been so slow, it makes vacation feel slow.
Okay. Not March fans. Got it.
I love March.
I've had a great March. This has been an outstanding March.
My birthday's in March.
It's just taking a long time.
Happy birthday.
When
whenever
is it?
it
March
was.
what?
I have the same birthday as Sean Barron's.
I don't know what day that is. Okay. We good then? We'll end it on that note. We're going to get out of here. Do have a watch along coming your way. If you want to look at my ugly face, tune into that. If not,
it's when the second half of the new Love is Blind season comes out.
There's so much to celebrate on this day.
we will be breaking everything down post-game no matter what. So at least join us for that. We appreciate all y'all, and we will see you either in a few minutes or after the game.